What is going on? What up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It is your boy, Mac the Giants fan, and I got my guy, NYG, Jeffy T, 85 here today this week, filling in for my super dope co-host, Adam Costas, who had a prior engagement, so he couldn't he couldn't do the show this week. So we got Jeff tagging in this week, man, my other fellow horseman. My guy, man, doing me a big solid, man. And you know what? We're going to still bring that heat anyway, the same way me and Adam do, because Jeff is the man, just like, Adam is too. So that's my dude, Jeffy T, NYG, Jeffy T85, stepping in for Adam this week. Big shoes to fill, but I know Jeff's going to be just fine, man, because he knows that New York Giant talk and that NFC East talk just as good as anybody I know, man. And he is one of the absolute fastest rising YouTubers that I know, man, doing his thing. So appreciate Jeff stepping in today. You know what? And this is the real deal. NFC East Round-Up. Hit that intro.
Cash flow.
Good afternoon, everyone, man. Like I was saying before, Adam couldn't make it today because he had a prior engagement, so he will be back next week. But this week, man, Jeff is stepping in for him, man, doing us a big solid, man. Going to step in, help me out today, get through this show, man. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing really good, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate stepping in for the legend, Mr. Adam Costas. But I will make sure to bring that NFC East fire just like you guys every single week. And you know where it is. You're talking NFC East football with a couple of the NFC East GOATs here. Thank you all, Mac, for appreciate it. For letting me fill in for the GOAT Adam, bro.
Oh, like I said, man, I appreciate you, man. You be doing your thing. You work hard. You grind out here on this YouTube thing, dropping videos daily with that breaking news content, the injury updates. Keep everybody up to date on everything. All New York Mets, New York Giants, Brooklyn Nets, man. Wrestling, Jeff. I don't know, you be doing the thing, man. Like I said, it's a pleasure having you on the show here with me, man. Really do, fellow Horseman member, man. From the Premium Takes podcast, man. Jeff, you got your hands into everything, man, and I love it, man. You work hard, man, and I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support, man. And thanks again for being here tonight, man. Really do, man. Really appreciate it. Make sure y'all absolutely sub up to Jeff, man. You can find his link to his page in the description. So definitely make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you sub up to Jeff. Indeed. Philly B, what's going on, man? It's my guy, Philly B. That's my behind-the-scenes guy, man. Be hooking me up, helping me out, man. That's one of my really good friends, man. Appreciate everything he do for Mac the Giants fan right here for this channel, man. We're going to keep bringing that heat, man, for y'all. But, yeah, interesting week in the NFC East, man. We had a couple buys, the Giants and the Cowboys had the week off. But started the week off on Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Texans, and I think most thought this was going to be a laugher. But this game turned out to be nothing but. This game turned out to be a lot more competitive than most people probably had thought, man, had expected. Especially, particularly in the first half. This game went to the halftime tied, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it did, 14-14 at the half, man. The Houston Texans gave the Eagles their best shot, man, and they almost pulled something crazy off, man, with a would have been having Vegas in an uproar, man, with this upset. They would have been able to pull the upset off, man. But the Eagles are still standing tall at 8-0 because they're just been a really good football team all year, and even when their backs go against the wall, they find a way to punch their way out of it, man. And they definitely, man, took Houston's best shot, man. Dameon Pierce ran wild on this Eagles defense. Like I've been saying that's pretty much the one weakness you find on this Eagles team. The one glaring weakness is that run defense. Teams have been able to run the football pretty well, pretty effectively on the Eagles defense most of the season. I mean, it hasn't amounted to anyone beating them, but teams have been able to run the football pretty well. And Dameon Pierce, 27 carries, 139 yards, 5.1 yards a carry. Yeah, that young man is having a special season, and he's probably leading the way right now for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I would just go out on a limb and think that that's probably what he's probably leading the way for that right now. It's been a couple other good rookie performances this season, but right now he stands out, at least in my mind, as one of the top guys that I think should be getting that trophy come February when they hand out that award. But let's go back to the Eagles, man. Jalen Hurts, man, once again playing another impressive game. This guy is, I would still put him very much in the MVP type of category right now. And you could, 21-27, 243 yards, and 2 touchdowns passes on the day, and then add 23 more yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts is really becoming just a top-tier quarterback, I feel like. I think you can almost start considering him in that category, honestly. I don't think there's really many question marks about this young man anymore. I think you can throw that out the window. This guy is beating teams with his arm as well as with his legs. It's no longer just, he can just run, but he can't throw. I don't want to hear that. Jalen Hurts is getting it done. And a lot of the reason why he's able to get it done is because A.J. Brown, man, 4 catches for 59 yards and another touchdown on the night. And then Dallas Goedert also, man, had a big night. 8 receptions for 100 yards and also adding a touchdown, man. So this Eagles team, they always seem to be, they're going to just continue to find ways, man. And I'm not sure what's going to actually be able to stop them. It's going to be a tough haul going down, man. But what, you got any thoughts on this game, man?
Well, I mean, you just pretty much went over one of the biggest points with the biggest weakness that the Eagles have to worry about, and it correlates with the injury to Jordan Davis that he suffered a couple of weeks ago when he's now out for at least about 4 weeks. And he's a big part and the reason why the Eagles were doing so well in terms of stopping the run. And now that he's out, and Fletcher Cox actually got banged up in this game too this past Thursday. So that you're talking about 2 of their premier defensive tackles that are either hampered right now by injury or they're not playing right now. So that's obviously hurt the interior of the defensive line. But with the Eagles right now, Jalen Hurts, there are a couple quarterbacks we talked about before this season, and ironically, they land in the NFC East that had to step their game up and had to prove to the NFL that they actually do belong. Obviously, one of them being our quarterback, Daniel Jones, the other one having to be Jalen Hurts. And right now, Jalen Hurts, he's just going out there and he's playing consistent, good football. He's not turning the football over as much at all. He's just passing for at least over 200 yards, it seems, every single game. He had a quarterback rating of 128.9, like you said. He's just getting the job done in multiple different facets, and he's going to go out there and he's going to earn himself a big-time contract after the season, because unless he just falls flat on his face for the rest of the season, there's no reason to think that Jalen Hurts is not going to get the bag after this season. And you want to talk about another thing that's helping out this team too? They're running the football effectively, not just Jalen Hurts, but Miles Sanders also had a nice game here. We had a 25-yard run as his longest, and he also had 93 yards rushing and a touchdown. So Miles Sanders has been stepping his game up for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's really raised the stakes and not just make it all about the passing game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And A.J. Brown, you want to talk about an acquisition that has really helped open things up for the Eagles on the outside? It is A.J. Brown. That guy is a man. He is a man's man on the outside. You try to double this dude, he will still go up there and pluck that football out of the air. He did it twice in the game last week. This dude is just uncoverable at times, Dallas Goedert, like you said, he went out there and he had about 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. And don't forget about number 6. Number 6 been a little quiet on that team, Devontae Smith. But we know how much that guy could pop off at any second, too. That's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles right now is they got weapon after weapon after weapon after weapon on that team. But you know what makes them the most scariest, Mac? Their lines. They have arguably the best offensive line in football. It is hard to argue right now. Their offensive line is easily one of the top offensive lines in football when you go left to right. They just have a good cohesion with one another when they're all playing healthy at the same time. These guys know where one another is. They know how to, each other where they want to be in terms of their blocking schemes, pass blocking, run blocking. They're excellent when it comes to their run blocking. They're excellent when it comes to their pass blocking. They have 2 solid Pro Bowl type tackles on the outside. Jason Kelce is a perennial Hall of Famer. And Landon Dickerson and Isaac Salamalu, they're really good guards too. So the Eagles' offensive line is really setting the tempo on why that Eagles team is so good on offense, combined with the fact that Jalen Hurts is playing great and the skill positions are really going at a top level. And their defensive line too. What makes a defensive line really strong is rotating players and not having guys get burnt out. Javon Hargrave being one indication. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 sacks in that game against the Houston Texans. He's not exactly very strong when it comes to his run defense, but what he does is he knows how to get to the quarterback, and he's one of the best interior defensive linemen when it comes to sacking the QB and getting constant pressure and hurries on the opposing quarterback. So the Eagles, they're clicking on all cylinders right now. Yes, they have to worry about their run defense when they play against an elite running back. And Dameon Pierce, like you said, if it wasn't for Breece Hall getting hurt, you could say 1-2 right now who is the best young running back in football. That kid Kenneth Walker is looking pretty good too. We'll talk about him later. But in terms of what Dameon Pierce is doing for Houston, he's great. But the Eagles right now, that's really their only glaring weakness. Otherwise, that team's clicking on all cylinders.
Totally agree, man. And what's going on, Coles Cowboy, man? Thanks for stopping in,
mid.
brother. Hurts is mid. I mean, look, brother. Look, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, respect, but Hurts is playing. He's playing above mid right now, bro. I'm sorry, he's playing above that.
He's better than Dak.
He's definitely a difference maker out there. He's making explosive plays, like I said, not only with his legs but with his arms as well, man. He's getting it done all across the board, every way you can ask for it, man. But talk about this Eagle defense a little bit more, man. The turnover game. This Eagles team just turns teams over at a very high rate, man. Like it's and they capitalize on those turnovers as well. But I mean, the guy they got from that dude they got from New Orleans, man, C.J. Gardner. Oh man, this guy, man, he's starting to turn into a game wrecker, man. Out back there in that secondary for the Eagles. I mean, he's exceptional back there. You're talking about just the off-season this Eagle football team had, man. The pieces they acquired, man. Like you said, I already talked about A.J. Brown, but this one too, man, on defense, C.J. Gardner and James Bradbury. Funny, the two guys they just picked up in the offseason got the interceptions in the game Thursday night for them, man. These guys are delivering on all cylinders, man. This Eagles team is a fun team to watch, and I think that we need to start really putting a little. I mean, because I still believe people are questioning this Eagle football team. Some are saying why are still, giving the nod to the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs over this Eagle team. Well, the Eagles team is 8-0.
Yeah.
Straight up. Can't argue with 8-0. Just can't. 8-0 is 8-0. And that means as in nobody that they played this season has been able to beat them. I don't want to hear about who they played against. I don't, because it is what it is, man. They're playing the teams that are on their schedule, and they're beating the teams that are on their schedule. And they've beaten every single one of them so far. So,
Absolutely.
In my opinion, I got to put this Eagle team as the best team in the league right now, period. Point blank and period. I get it. Kansas City's playing great football. Buffalo took an L this weekend, but they're still overall playing great football. But this Eagle team is undefeated. They haven't had any hiccups. They haven't had any. So I mean, you got to give this team more credit. I believe people are still kind of doubting this team, and I think they're still trying to hold the whole NFC East week schedule thing. You can't, because the reality is some of these teams are supposed to be a little better than they were, and some
Mm-hmm.
of these teams are a little better than they were expected to be. So you got to look at it like that as well. They're just beating the teams that are on their schedule, and they're beating them soundly. So you got to, and they're doing it the right way all across the board, getting the effort from everyone on this football team, man. Offensive, defensive, everybody's contributing, man. And they getting a little, they're starting to get a little bit banged up. It looks like a little bit, getting a couple guys nicked up, but for the most part, they've been able to stay fairly healthy throughout this run.
Don't
And
tell the Eagles fans that. They might be saying you're trying to jinx them, Mac, saying that they've been
look,
relatively healthy. Might start
I
seeing
mean,
guys drop down, be like, Mac, what are you doing to us? Why are you saying that? It's all your
well,
fault, bro, that these guys are dropping now.
but like, how do you feel about that though, Jeff? Like some of the national media is still not quite ready to put the Eagles above, for instance, like the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Well, you know what? If I'm an Eagles fan, do I really care what the national media is saying about my team? Because all my team is doing out there is they're doing 3 words: handling their business. That's all they're doing. That's
Absolutely.
all you got to do on your schedule is handle your business. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter how good or bad that team you're opposing against is. All you got to do is just go out there and handle your business. And the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it's an ugly game or whether they're blowing people out, they're going out there and they're handling their business. And you talked about that secondary and those Bullhawks they got, because that's exactly what they got in that secondary. Bullhawks. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, what an addition he's been, taking over that safety spot right over there for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's just been going out over there and making play after play after play. We obviously know about James Bradbury very well, and obviously we know we could use James Bradbury right now in our secondary with how our cornerback rotation is like rotating in and out. But like Bradbury has pretty much been filling in, and he's doing an excellent job over there with the Eagles. If it wasn't for those guys with the Jets right now, you can argue that the Eagles might have the best cornerback duo in the NFL with Bradbury and Darius Slay. Even Avonte Maddox is doing a solid job in the slot. And then obviously you're talking about the additions they made on defense. How about their defensive line, outside linebacker? They signed Hassan Reddick on the outside to help out with that pass rush. And then all they did was they brought back Brandon Graham after he was banged up. They brought back Fletcher Cox again in the middle of that defense. And then they went out near the trade deadline. They acquired a guy named Robert Quinn, who he might not be the same player he was back in the day when he was playing with the Rams and even a little bit with the Bears, but he's still a top-level pass rusher when he's healthy. So, I mean, the Eagles have just added on that defense. And the one thing that's helping them out, too, they rotate those guys. That's how you keep guys fresh. If you're able to rotate guys in and out on that defensive line, not everybody gets burnt out. It's going to help your guys out once you get towards the end of the season. These guys aren't going to be playing too much, and they're not going to get hurt more easily because at least they're a little bit more fresh when you get down to the end of games and obviously towards the end of the season. So I agree. I mean, if I'm an Eagles fan, do I really care what the national media says? We can know because we get trashed all the time for our team in the national media. For the Eagles, don't care. Who cares what the national media is saying about who you're playing and if you guys aren't getting the respect? Because the only thing that matters in reality is W's and L's. And so far, that L on the other side has got this.
Exactly.
That's all that matters
Still a donut.
Still donut. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that matters, guys.
But okay. That's enough nice talk about the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about nice anymore. Forget the nice talk about them.
Yeah,
We'll have a date with you guys in a few weeks, so just be ready.
Yeah, we can move on and slide up to there was one more matchup last week in NFC East Division, and that was the Minnesota Vikings visiting the Washington Commanders. And this was a fun game, good game. Washington had control of most of this game, had control of most of the way of this game, man, and they screwed it up in the end, gave it up in the end, and Minnesota ended up coming back and getting the job done, 20-17 with a big fourth quarter. Minnesota had a big fourth quarter and just came back and stole the game from Washington, man. And that's unfortunate because Washington was on the road, had a little couple game win streak going. Looked like Heineke was the answer, and then Heineke came up. You know, he kind of came up bad in the clutch, man. He wasn't very clutch in this game. He had the big interception late that kind of helped seal the deal. And it's unfortunate because I mean it was looking like it was like a little bit of Heineke magic going on, man. Like they were getting ready to pull the big upset off. But yeah, Heineke's numbers were pretty pedestrian. 15 to 28 for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception on the day. Like I just mentioned, the big interception he had.
Mm.
And he's spreading the ball around to these receivers a little bit, but still just not enough. It's not enough offensive production. Obviously, not enough points on the board to hang on. And defense couldn't hang on in the end, man. This team is desperate. They'll be desperate to get like Chase Young and these guys actually back on the field. Chase Young is back practicing, obviously, but he hasn't been. He didn't play in the game on Sunday. At least not to my knowledge, he didn't. And they're going to be desperate to get him back in the lineup because they need something to try to generate this defense, jumpstart this defense, man.
Absolutely.
Which,
Absolutely. I agree 100%, man.
you got any thoughts on this game, Jeff?
I mean, I actually think one of the players that the Washington Commanders are missing right now is they miss Jahan Dotson. That kid was doing such a good job at the beginning of the season, opening things up for Terry McLaurin on the other side. That guy was their field stretcher. He was off to an amazing start to his rookie year until he got hurt. And you could tell right now that that's the missing element to that offense because they had that 3-receiver prong. No disrespect to De'Ami Brown, but that dude is just pretty much a bit player. He's a guy that you can use situationally as a deep threat at times, but they need Jahan Dotson back because Curtis Samuel, he had an amazing play at the end. I believe it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter when he made that catch in between three players when the referee decided to get into play and decided to play offensive line a little bit or a wide receiver screen against the Minnesota Vikings defense and take out one of the Vikings to help out Samuel, make that catch on the outside. But right now you could tell that Dotson is the missing piece to that Washington Commanders offense. Heineke, he played well at the beginning of the game. He did his job, and then at the end he just couldn't he was not being clutch enough. And as much as Washington right now is really on a high at the moment, that was like really just a coming back down to reality type crashing moment because they had that game in the hands and they just couldn't find a way to close it out. And especially against a good team like Minnesota. And we know Minnesota's got a great tight end that they just acquired at the trade deadline and TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, we know how good Justin Jefferson is. I mean, Adam Thielen had a very good game overall. It's good to see Thielen be able to put some good stats, and Dalvin Cook is still a beast out of the backfield. The Washington Commanders, they have their opportunity here to put their stamp on the season and say, you know what? We are still a threat in this division. And they couldn't get it done in the end. They had a 10-point lead with about 7 or 8 minutes left in this game, and they couldn't close it out. And this is going to be a damaging loss for them because now you look at the rest of the division, the Commanders are about 3 or 4 games back, and they're literally going to have to hope that the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Giants all falter in the next coming weeks. And they're going to have to pretty much – is it out of the realm? They're going to have to win out in the rest of their divisional games against these other teams to even have a shot if they want to win this division. I mean, playoffs, you never know. One of these other teams could falter because of how open the NFC East is. But the Washington Commanders, this loss last week was such a damaging loss to them because they needed to find a way to pull off that victory. And Chase Young, they definitely could use Chase Young an added pass rush element to the other side because Montez Sweat, he had a decent game, but he needs a little bit of help on the other side. Obviously, their defensive tackles, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne, are solid. I mean, they did get rid of William Jackson III when they traded him to Pittsburgh. So you have to see how that cornerback position is doing right now. But it's clear as day that loss was so detrimental to that team, and it could really impact them if they don't find a way to bounce back. And it's going to be a difficult game when they go against the Eagles.
Yeah, I was saying that brings up another good question too. Like I was wondering, we were talking about prior to coming on live. How do you think the Washington Commanders? What do you think they need to do to try to salvage this season in this tough, which is a much tougher NFC East division than expected going into this year? What do they gotta do to maybe try to salvage this season and have any chance? Like you said, where they need to figure out?
They need to win in the NFC East. They have to try to find a way to maybe either come close or they have to sweep the rest of the NFC East. I mean, they still got a game, I believe, against Dallas. They still have, obviously, another game against Philly, and then they have to play us twice. So they have to pretty much win at least 3 of their next 4 games or possibly even sweep the rest because the NFC East is going to be so daunting. And what's the easiest way you can get back into it? Beat your divisional opponents. So that's one thing they definitely have to do. They need to get a little bit more of a pass rush on the outside. Heineke has got to play more consistent for 48 minutes rather than just play consistent for, about 60 minutes rather than just play consistent for about 48 minutes. And the team has got to do better on offense overall. So that's the thing that the Washington Commanders need to do. But specifically, thank you, Steven, is they need to do a good job in terms of beating their divisional opponents. They cannot let what happened to them against Philly the first time happen again, where they got the doors blown off that first game. They have to come out and play a more competitive game, and they have to go out there and shock the world. Heineke, they have to make sure Heineke can rise to the occasion and go out there and be able to beat some of these other NFC East teams. That's where it all starts, Mac. They got to beat the divisional opponents, because if you go out there next week and you get your doors blown off by the Eagles again, what does that really tell you about this team? They're not ready. They're not competitive enough to hang out with these other teams. And then you got to go out there and beat everybody talks about how the Giants are mediocre. Go out there and beat them. Everybody talks about how Dallas might be a fraudulent team because they've been beating nobody. Go out there and beat them. That's how the Washington Commanders can really get back into this race and get back into things, because that loss was so damaging to that team. So damaging why they couldn't hang it on, because they were able to hang on. They would have been up about 500, 5-4, I believe it was 4 straight wins. They would have been riding high going against that Philadelphia Eagles game. Now coming off a loss, have to dwell on it through the bye. It's going to make it a lot more difficult.
Well, yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Jeff, about this Washington team. And a couple of things, like you said, they just need to get healthy. They do have some key guys out. I mean, Jahan Dotson is a key on that offense. They need to also get an offensive identity. I feel like this team doesn't have an identity offensively. You don't know what they really are. You don't know they want to be that team to air it out, which you would think they could be that team with the group of receivers that this team has. But quarterback's a little bit questionable, obviously. And then they also got a decent little young running back. I think they just still, I mean, like I said, Brian Robinson dealt with something disastrous earlier prior to the season starting, getting shot and then the attempted carjacking of him earlier, and which, by the way, they've seemed to have gotten a suspect in that case down in Washington, by the way, a 17-year-old kid. But thank God got to get this kid off the street. But yeah, Brian Robinson's a good young running back, and then Antonio Gibson provides a major spark too, and as well as running and as well as in the passing game. So I think they need to just get an identity to figure out who they want to be, try to utilize those weapons a little bit better, because they got decent weapons on paper, man. They got some players, man. It's just they got to find a way to put it together. And like you said, defensively, this team's a mess right now. Defensively, they just need to get back to what they were doing a couple of years ago. I get the linebackers are a little uninspiring.
Fugazi. They're not really good. They're a little Fugazi, uninspiring. You're right. How about that Jamin Davis pick? How's that working out for them so far? Great pick there, Washington. He's really doing a good job in the middle.
Yeah, so it's like, this team just need to find an identity. And I believe in their coach, Ron Rivera. I don't know if he's going to last through this.
I feel so bad for him.
But this season, if he'll still be their coach going forward next year, but I think he is a good coach. I think he's the guy for the job. I think it's just so much nonsense that goes on behind closed doors in Washington. And like I said, this team just needs to find an identity offensively, man. Like I said, I believe you get the right quarterback in there with the receivers this team has, they can go out there and air it out on anybody, man. Like you said, Jahan Dotson is a key guy that's been out, rookie. What's going on, Miz?
Hey, Miz, what's going on? Stay safe, bro. Stay safe, please.
But at the same time, man, this team just really lacks just having a good identity offense. They seem like they go into games not really knowing what they really want to do, what they want to lay out there. And I just feel like right now, especially with Taylor Heineke in there, we know he knows the offense well, everything. He's been there, done that. At the same time, he's also still just Taylor Heineke. So at the end of the day, so you gotta. I feel like personally try to establish that run game and open it up for the pass game a little bit. Try to make it a little easier on him. Try to make it more of a commitment to the run. I think down the stretch in this game, that's part of what the issue was. Like, you got Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson here that combined for only 24 carries total. Like, come on, Brian Robinson should have about 24 carries in a game like this
Yeah.
on Sunday. You're trying to protect the lead, and you're still not trying to run the ball and eat that clock up. I mean, that's part of the reason why you allow Minnesota to get back in the game too, because you're still out there having Taylor Heineke throw the ball all over the place, and you're not even running any time off the damn clock.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam had a prior engagement, man. He's not going to be on this week, Miz. So he'll be back next week, man.
Mac, I actually got a couple of questions for you since you brought up those couple of topics right now. Do you think that the off the field stuff right now with the whole Washington, investigation and the potential sale of that team mixed in with the fact that can they really trust Taylor Heineke to be a guy? Like those are two questions you have to think about with Washington right now. Is that whole off the field distraction with the potential sale of the team and the whole thing going on, plus do they really believe that Taylor Heineke can be the guy going forward? Those are the two things you got to think about with that organization right now.
Yeah, I think that does have an effect because here's the end of the day. We read about the stuff in the paper, see the stuff on the news, whatever. In the paper. Let me sound old as shit.
Yeah.
Read about stuff.
Come on, paper. Who still reads the newspaper? Come on.
On the internet, but
what's the newspaper?
At the end of the day, man, those guys are right there in the building, and they gotta deal with it. They gotta answer the questions from the media down there. They got it. So some guys probably can just brush it off and let it roll off, and not even worry about it. Just go and do their job, go to work, do their job. But some guys, it's gonna always be in the back of their mind, like thinking, like, damn, what I got myself into? I signed a contract to be here, and then this place is a mess. You know what I mean? Now you're trying to kick. Now you got the other owners coming together, trying to force our owner to sell the team. It's all kinds of craziness going on in Washington, man. So.
I feel so bad for Ron Rivera. I really feel so bad for him. I think he's not as bad of a coach as maybe Commanders fans are saying right now. But what is this guy supposed to do? I mean, it seems like every single day there's just some type of distraction going on with this organization all over the place. I mean, Ron Rivera sometimes just feels like a sitting duck. I mean, his quarterback, wasn't not playing well, and B, then he gets hurt. I mean, they've had a quarterback carousel pretty much the entire time since he's taken over the job. They have to deal with the Ryan Robinson incident that happened even before the season. You have all the injuries that are surrounding this team, and then couple that with the whole thing going on with Daniel Snyder and the off-the-field stuff. I mean, Ron Rivera, I can't get on this guy. He's doing as much as he can with the all-around mess with this organization. I feel terribly bad for him. I would not be surprised what Miz is saying if he's right. Maybe he's trying to get the hell out of this right now train wreck that's going on in Washington, because right now that's just what it is. And it all starts with that stadium, too. That's an absolute disgusting dump. That whole entire thing surrounding the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whatever you want to call them, there is an absolute mess around that organization. And I feel for a guy like Ron Rivera. And if he wants to get the hell out after the season, I do not blame him one single second. I'd want to get out of that mess, too. If I was being real.
You could very well be right with that, man, with that assessment, man, because it's just a lot of craziness going on down there. Not even just football wise, like you said, off the field stuff is just it's a lot, man. You would think I don't even know how free agents are attracted to want to go and sign and play there right now with all that was going on. It's one thing you get drafted there and you don't really have a choice, But like guys going there like willingly as free agents, it's like it's not. I don't feel like it's not enough money to make me want to go into a situation like that and deal with all of that extra nonsense that they're dealing with down there. So I don't know. Okay, Miz, you said Miz says he feels the best matchup is Rivera that goes back to Carolina and build them up again. I mean,
does he want
to? Carolina will be looking for a new coach obviously this offseason, so.
Yeah, they could be looking for a new quarterback, too. I mean, is Baker Mayfield really the answer? No.
I don't think so. I think they're definitely
P.J. Walker came crashing back to earth.
They'll be definitely in the quarterback market.
You don't believe in Matt Corral?
For sure. Well, I mean, he hasn't shown. I don't know. We haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
He's not a very high draft pick, and if they have a chance to get one of these studs in the first round or something like that, sorry, Matt Corral, to the back of the line you go again, man. Unfortunately, that's the nature of this game, man. Guys get hurt sometimes, and it can be it could be a detriment. You know what I mean? The kid, I feel like at this point in time, Matt Corral would have definitely been on the field, obviously. So
Absolutely.
we would
Absolutely.
have seen what he is or isn't by
Yeah.
now with the way the quarterback situation has been down there in Carolina. Unfortunately, the kid got injured, out for the whole season, and by next year they may somebody there's going to be a new coach in town. They're going to probably draft their guy, and Matt
Mhm.
Corral is just going to kind of going to be in limbo probably. So
But
we'll see
Mac,
what
I got a
happens,
question for
man.
you real quick too. If Taylor Heineke ends up not being the guy and he sort of falters a little bit, do you think we might see Sam Howell for the Washington Commanders and maybe they'll give him a shot and see if this guy could potentially be the quarterback? Obviously, Wentz being hurt and he was ineffective. If Heineke can't get the job done, do we get to see a Sam Howell sighting sometime before the end of this year?
I believe we can see a Sam Howell sighting as early as next week,
I
depending
definitely see it. Yeah.
depending depending how this game goes against the Eagles on Monday night. Which you know what, might as well since we didn't brought it up, might as well get there. But depending
Here we
how this
go.
game goes, on Monday night, the Eagles, man, we could potentially see Sam Howell as early as next week,
Hmm.
week 11, man, when they go to play the Texans, and which would actually probably not be a bad time to roll out a young quarterback. I mean, Texans defense is not bad. Don't get it wrong. I'm not saying that by any means, but if you're going to roll out a young quarterback, I feel like it's better against a bad team at least. You know what I mean? A team that he actually has a chance to go in there and get some confidence and get a W. I mean, so I think depending how this game goes on Monday night for them, I think Sam Howell could be getting the nod as early as next week, and that's just the honest to God truth. Because if this game was going on, Earl, good
Hey
to
Earl, how
see
you
you,
doing,
man.
bro?
So I wouldn't be surprised by that. So because this Washington team, if they go out there and lose badly to the Eagles on Monday night, that you could almost say that's probably it. That's probably it for their season. Probably
Yeah.
nothing more they can do to salvage this year if they go out and get absolutely humiliated by the
Mm,
Eagles on Monday night. So I would think at this point, yeah, might as well see what you got in Sam Howell because if you
yeah.
got a young stud, then you ain't got to spend that. You ain't got to spend no draft capital on a quarterback if you already got the young guy in the building already. So you might as
Mm.
well get a look at him. What's going on? Unpopular opinion, man. Thanks for stopping in, man. Good to see you
NYG, what's
guys.
up, bro?
Guys killed it last night, man. I got to check y'all out a little later. I wasn't able to check y'all out live, but y'all killed it, man. Good
Thank you.
job as usual, man. Sum up the unpopular opinion sports, man. We doing the damn thing. Get them up to 100 subs, man. Let's get them there.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, and so yeah, I was talking about the quarterback Sam Howell potentially showing up. Yeah, so yeah, I can see how that might play out. How do you feel about it, Joe?
I mean, yeah, I could easily see it playing out that way because if the Washington Commanders go into Monday Night Football and they get their doors blown off, why would you even bother trying to play Taylor Heineke right now? Taylor Heineke is pretty much a stopgap quarterback. No disrespect to the guy. I mean, he brought great energy to that team for a few weeks. He helped right the ship a little bit and make that team somewhat relevant. But then obviously it was a coming back down to earth type moment against the Vikings when he couldn't close out that game. And if they go out there and they get their doors blown off, and say, for instance, the Giants and the Cowboys take care of business and they both win on Sunday, that would put Washington pretty much at least 4 or 5 games behind the rest of the division. And the only way they would have a shot at making the playoffs is if one of those NFC East teams literally collapse and Washington pretty much wins the rest of their divisional games out and then some. So at that point, if you get your doors blown off, coupled with the Giants and the Cowboys both winning, go out there and say, Taylor, thank you very much. We appreciate what you did for us these past few weeks, but we want to see what the kid Sam Howell can do for us, and if this kid can potentially be the answer at quarterback for us going forward. So I think it has a lot to do with how they perform. If they go out there and they play a competitive game, and maybe they still lose by a little bit, sure, you might still want to try and see what the kid Howell can do. But maybe it's not as bad. But if they literally get like you said, they get blown out and Heineke just does not look good, then just take him out, Tell him thank you. We appreciate what you've done for this organization, but we want to see what the kid from UNC can do for our team. So that's how I feel about it. It just makes too much sense. And you drafted the kid, I believe, in the 3rd round. Let this kid go out there and see what he can do and see if he could potentially be maybe a diamond in the rough and a guy you could potentially build around going forward.
Totally agree with you, man. Like I said, they lose this one on Monday. They might as well just get a look at Sam Howell because you got to know, you got to get an evaluation. You got to know what this kid can do on the field with live rounds, man. So we'll see, man. But as far as this game, man, how do you see this game playing out? The Eagles and the Washington game Monday night. I mean, I guess we were just touching on it a little bit, but how do you actually? Because I feel like obviously the Eagles sitting at 8-0 are sitting pretty. No matter what happens in this game, they're still going to be sitting pretty regardless. At the same time, I feel like they want people to have that keep that respect, get that respect up for them a little bit more that an 8-0 team deserves. They can't go out there and drop the ball against the Washington Commanders on their home field on Monday Night Football. And I don't think they will. I think this Philadelphia Eagle team is absolutely for real. And I just can't see Washington getting upset here, not being led by Taylor Heineke at all. We might even see an appearance by Sam Howell in this game. Although this is the kind of situation where you might get a kid like that shell shocked, going there against that Eagle defense, and they start teeing off on them. So, I see the Eagles winning this one, and I actually do see them winning pretty big. I don't even see Washington keeping this one competitive, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm trying really hard I'm really thinking about every type of way that the Washington Commanders could try to make this game close. But if you think about it, their strength of their team on the offensive side is their wide receivers. What's the strength of Philadelphia right now? The secondary, because of the fact they're playing like big time ball hawks right now on the outside, and they're going to do a solid job covering up some of those receivers, especially if Dotson is not going to play. So in terms of when it comes to, I'll get to that later, Miz. I'll get to that later. But in terms of
that in a minute.
In terms of the wide receivers for the Washington Commanders, I think they're going to have a difficult time going up against that Eagles secondary. I mean, the one thing that they should be doing is running the football because of the fact that Eagles defensive line, their run defense is horrific right now, especially without Jordan Davis. And who knows how healthy Fletcher Cox is right now. And Javon Hargrave is not very good in terms of stopping the run. So right now, I would say pretty much that I would have no Adam Screaming Jones is average. We need to get rid of him. Better hope he's not watching, Miz. Better hope he's not watching right now. But I don't know, man. I just think it's going to get ugly. I really do. I just don't think this Washington team is going to be able to measure up to what the Eagles have. I mean, they're going to be harassing Heineke the entire game. Their offensive line is not that great. They're banged up a little bit. I mean, if Jahan Dotson doesn't play, there's your vertical threat out of this game. I think they're going to be doubling up a guy like Terry McLaurin. And then, you obviously have Curtis Samuel, but I think they'll do a good job against him. And then, I mean, I'm not worried about De'Ami Brown or anything. They can't run the ball consistently. So, Jeffrey Miz has been predicting Galladay's first TD every game this year. Yeah, no, I have. I have been doing that. I have. I have been. I feel stupid every single week. I keep saying, oh, he's going to score a touchdown every single week, and he hasn't done jack shit yet. So I'm not going to go out there and say that he's going to score another touchdown. So we'll have to wait and see.
Adam had a prior engagement this week, man, so he'll be back next week, back on the show next week, but he wasn't able to do the show this Wednesday, man.
Absolutely. But, yeah, I don't see it. I think the Eagles are going to win. And I think they're going to win by at least a couple of touchdowns, maybe 3. It's going to be the same thing that happened earlier on this season. I don't see it. I think it's going to get ugly. I think it's just everything around that Commanders team is just going to get ugly. And I would not be surprised. I would not put you were saying before, maybe they put the kid in. I am not putting that kid anywhere near that Philadelphia Eagles defense. You want to get that kid shell-shocked after his first game? Tell him to go out there and play against that Eagles defense and get whooped all over the place by Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham and Robert Quinn, and you got Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave coming up the middle. You would shell-shock that kid at the first week. There is no way I would put that kid out there against the Eagles. If they get their asses kicked, have the kid, get him ready for possibly next week on a little bit of an easier game against the Texans and see what he can do. But, yeah, I think it's not going to be pretty. I think I can see the Eagles winning by a couple of touchdowns here, and they'll go up to 9-0.
Yeah, and it just goes back to what we were talking about. Like I said, what I was talking about earlier. I don't think, like I said, this team lacks an identity offensively. I think they'll go out there and they'll play to the Eagles' strengths. They'll try to be passing the ball and forcing the ball downfield against this Eagle defense, and that's what the Eagles are going to want them to do. And I feel like Washington is going to go out there and do just that instead of trying to establish a good, tough run game. Like I said, Brian Robinson, if you watch him, when he gets the ball, he runs hard. He's one of those type of running backs that could be one of those guys that wears the defense out and then in the fourth quarter could be a killer. But
Absolutely.
this Washington team does not use him that way. And to me, it's a complete failure on their offensive philosophy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Why don't you learn from the other teams? What do the other teams in this NFC East do well, Mac? They run the football. Why are they all winning right now? Not just because they're defense. They're running the football. Why is Washington not looking at what these other teams are doing? Because their running backs are not bad. Why don't you try running the football a little bit more consistently so maybe you could get one more guy that could potentially come in the box that takes the defender from the back, takes the defender from the outside, comes in a little bit more, and it opens more things up for that passing game. So why don't you try to establish the run, give that ball to Brian Robinson, give that ball to Antonio Gibson, let them try to develop a running game a little bit more, and it's going to open things up for your passing game. It's just common sense. Old school football is coming back, baby. It's coming back. Washington, get with the program. See what they're doing, like the other teams the NFC East are doing right now while they're winning. Come back to us. Come back to old school football, Washington. Because right now you're that sore thumb. You're like the appendix right now of that division because you're not following the same concept that these other teams are doing. And that's why you guys aren't winning and the rest of us are.
Absolutely. And I mean, I get it. The offensive line is not that great in Washington, but look, the offensive line ain't that great in New York either. But it ain't stopping us from running that football. You know what I mean? As much as we can down teams' throats. And I think
You're
Washington
damn right.
they desperately need to just figure out themselves, learn a little bit about themselves. But I think I like the Eagles here, man. And I'm assuming you just say you like the Eagles as well. So we can get ready to go check out this next game here. The Dallas Cowboys going to Green Bay, take on them Packers who are on a 5-game losing streak?
I don't even know. This was a marquee game at the beginning of the season, not anymore.
This game looked great on paper in the beginning of the season, and now, I mean, it's like a straight up stinker. I mean, Green Bay is just not the team that people thought they were going to be. Aaron Rodgers is indeed struggling with these young group of receivers. The fact that the one reliable receiver he had has been banged up. I can't remember.
Al Lazard?
No,
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb, yeah. That was pretty much their most reliable guy he had coming into this year. He's been banged up a lot.
Yeah.
And the young guys have been letting them down, man. And I
Rodgers
don't
threw him
remember
under the bus too. He threw those running receivers on the bus.
I don't remember seeing the Packers have a 5-game losing streak in the Aaron Rodgers era, to my knowledge, that I can ever remember.
No, this is abnormal.
So this is definitely new territory for them. And Lambeau Field usually is a rough place to go play, but this year, man, nobody's scared of Lambeau Field or the Green Bay Packers. And
no,
I don't see the Dallas Cowboys having much of a problem here either. I think they're going to go in there with Pollard, run the ball right down the Packers' throat, and then Dak Prescott is going to clean them up, man. And I just think the Dallas Cowboys go in there and get the W. I mean, I wish Green Bay could knock these guys off and help us out and knock these guys off, but I just don't see it happen. Not the Green Bay Packers that we've been seeing the last few weeks. And the Dallas Cowboys are just way, way better. I mean, it's a way better football team right now at this stage of the season. Aaron Rodgers is, like people always say, it's always about the quarterback. You got the great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. I'm not going to deny that. But you still need help. And right now, he doesn't have enough of it. I mean, he just doesn't have enough of it. I mean, Aaron Jones is running the ball pretty well overall. He's not like Aaron Jones is having a bad season, but it's just still not enough to get him.
He got banged up too.
Yeah, I mean, so.
It's a mess, bro. It is such a mess right now.
Nikki? Thanks for stopping in, Nikki.
This Green Bay This Green Bay Packers team is an absolute freaking mess. When was the last time you saw Aaron Rodgers throw not one but two picks when they were in the red zone? When have we ever
That's what I
seen that?
mean. Very
It's a
uncharacteristic.
disaster. It's a disaster, and he recently just threw his young receivers under the bus, and they're pissed off about that. They recently just came out, and they're not happy about Aaron Rodgers throwing them under the bus, saying that these guys are not, up to par or not good enough to be on the football field right now to play with the almighty great Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Aaron, do you think you missed Devontae Adams? You think you missed Devontae Adams right now? Well, guess what? He probably misses you too right now. You want to talk about a marriage that was broken up, that should have never broken up,
Yeah.
because it's really not helped either one of those guys at all. Because, we already know with Devontae Adams, he might be playing well in Las Vegas, but his team sucks. And, the Packers, they're a disaster all over the place. Offensively, defensively, injuries all over the place. They just lost Rashawn Gary for the season. That's a major blow to their defense. J.J. Stokes got banged up in that game. Aaron Jones is in a walking boot. Lazard is always hurt. Randall Cobb is banged up. Dobbs got hurt. He's not playing
Yeah.
right now. Watson got a concussion. They're another wide receiver. And you know
They've had
who's
injuries
coming?
all across that old line as well. Injuries across
Exactly.
that
And
old
you want
line
who's
as well.
coming? You want who's coming? Micah freaking Parsons. Micah Parsons is coming. He was a little banged up, but guess what? He gets a week to rest, and he's going up against a horrendous Green Bay Packers offensive line. You don't think Micah Parsons is excited to go up against that offensive line and have the chance to knock the hell out of Aaron Rodgers? He's probably licking his chops right now to get the opportunity to go up against him. DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side, Leighton Vander Esch at the linebacker position, all those defensive linemen. You don't think Trayvon Diggs is hoping to pick off some passes against whoever the hell is planning to play wide receiver at that team? Because right now, that Green Bay Packers team is a mess all around. It could be a ghost town for the first time in a long time in Lambeau Field. With the amount of injuries that team has, with the amount of ineffective play that team is playing with, is it out of the question right now, Mac? And I'm not even afraid to say this. Do the Packers potentially turn to Jordan Love at some point and tell Aaron Rodgers, sit your ass down right now? You're not helping this team. We want to see what this kid can do. I'm telling you, he's not helping this team. If they keep losing, is it out of the realm that they tell Aaron Rodgers, we're sitting you, and we want to see what this kid can do, because they did draft him, and he is going to potentially be a free agent. He's a potential future guy. They have to be regretting giving him that large contract.
That would be drastic. That would be
I
drastic.
love it.
I don't think that we're going to see that happen. I mean,
I know.
Jordan Love had a couple opportunities last season when Aaron Rodgers was banged up, and it's not a good look. Jordan Love looks like he was clearly a mistake with that first
Yeah.
round pick a couple years ago. So
Yeah,
he's not
definitely.
he's not the future in Green Bay. They're gonna whenever Aaron Rodgers does go, they're gonna look elsewhere. It's not gonna be Jordan Love stepping in. At least I don't foresee that anyway,
Yeah.
based off of what I've seen from him with his limited opportunities. But however, this Dallas team, since we're on talk on the Dallas right now, what do you think they need to do to rise to the top of the NFC East over top of like the Philadelphia Eagles right now? What do you think they actually need to do down the stretch the second half of this season?
Just continue to been doing what they've been doing. Play phenomenal defense. They're probably the best defense overall in the NFC East. Arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL. I'd probably say right now, I put them or the Jets as one of the top defenses in the NFL right now. Maybe the Giants are up there too, but I think the Jets and the Cowboys are two of the best defenses in the NFL as we speak. They got to keep continuing to harass the opposing quarterbacks, keep running that ball when Zeke is healthy and Pollard. Dak Prescott, he's still a little bit banged up, but he's just got to keep playing efficient, good football, get the ball to his playmakers, Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, who's going to be a little bit more healthy now. Who knows about the OBJ stuff, because there's been rumors he might be going there. They just got to be continuing to do smart, effective, old school football. That's what Dallas has been doing for years. Smart, effective, old school football. What's going on, Mitch?
What's going on, Mitch?
But that's what they got to do. Just keep doing what you're doing. Dallas shouldn't be straying away from their game plan that has been working for them almost all season. Phenomenal pass rush defense. Don't play way too over-aggressive in the back end of your defense. Continue to run the ball consistently. I'll give credit to credit where it's due. The Cowboys' offensive line is not as bad as I thought it might be at the beginning of the season. They're actually pretty decent. And that left tackle,
Right.
Tyler Smith, has really done a solid job taking over for Tyron Smith over at the left side. We know how good, but Terrence Steele hasn't been bad on the right side. We obviously know how good Zach Martin is. So credit where credit is due. As much I can't stand giving credit to the Cowboys, it makes my skin crawl just giving credit to that damn organization. But I got to do it because they are playing great old school football, and they can't stray away from what is working right now for that team. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't go away from what is successful right now. And Dan, and we talk about Wink Martindale helping out our defense. Look what Dan Quinn has done to that Cowboys defense.
Absolutely.
He has turned
Absolutely.
them up to another level. Their defense is scary at times to go against because it feels like every single second you have 2 or 3 pass rushers
What's up,
going
Coach?
against you. So, Coach, what's going on? I'm talking about your favorite team, Coach, the team down south. We know how much you love that team down south over there in Dallas. But right now, yeah,
Yeah, you
short
brought
and
up a
sweet.
good point with that offensive line too, Jeff, man, because going into this season, everybody was pounding on about that Cowboy offensive line and how bad it was going to
Absolutely.
be,
Mhm.
and just that, and this is going to be terrible, and everybody's going to just be sacking Dak Prescott. They're not going to be able to run the ball because the offensive line ain't going to be able to block nobody.
Mhm.
Baloney, malarkey. That was malarkey. The
Yeah.
Cowboys are their offensive line is hell. It's better than it was a year ago. So let's
Coach.
just face it. I mean, so they overcame that. They struggled the first game of the season. They absolutely did. They went
Mhm.
to Tampa Bay. They struggled in that game. Ever since week one, this offensive line has been more than average. They've been above average. They've been perfectly fine. No issues. No major issues anyway.
Yeah.
So they've overcome that, and they may have found they got a home run hitter in Tony Pollard. I
Yes.
mean, I'm not sure if Zeke's gonna be back on the field this week or not. I don't think he is, but they're good with Tony Pollard, man. That guy's an absolute home run. Every time he touches the ball, he's a threat to break a big one. So I think this Cowboy team, man. Obviously, it's going to come down to the like you were talking about earlier, and we were talking about Washington, the divisional matchups
Yes.
for Dallas. But but that's what it's going to come down to this season. The rest of the second half of this season is they're going to have to win there to keep the bell. And hope the Eagles drop the ball somewhere because honestly, the Eagles just haven't been doing that. So they're going to need the Eagles to obviously drop the ball, and they're going to have to definitely take care of their own business, man. But this Cowboy team is, I feel like, really legitimate. Also, really legit as it gets. And I hate saying things like this; it almost sounds blasphemous, but
Mm.
they got a shot, man. They really do. They got a real chance as long as they don't get in, don't
It's
deal
a
with any too
three-team
many big
race.
injuries, man.
Mm.
It's gonna be fun the second half of the season watching this NFC East unfold, man.
And
And
credit to them too with the offensive line. I mean, you lose 2 starting offensive tackles before the season even starts, with letting Lyle Collins go in the free agency, and then they lose Tyron Smith before the season even starts, and you have one a rookie and another guy who is pretty much a seasoned backup take over at the tackle positions. It makes me sick
yeah,
giving them credit, but got to give
got
them
to give
credit.
credit where
Got to
credit's
give
due,
credit.
man.
And
They
let's
earned
talk.
it.
Let's talk about a team that we love so much that makes us feel so good inside, Mac. A
Yeah, it's
team.
time.
It's time, bro. Talk about them New York Football Giants.
That's what time it is right now. New York Football Giants coming off the bye week, hosting the Houston Texans on Sunday at MetLife, man. And this game, man, as we saw, the effort Houston's been on at basically almost practically been on the bye too by playing last Thursday night. They've had some 10 days off, so they'll be well rested. And we saw the effort they put forth against the Eagles on Thursday night last Thursday, man. So this
Mm-hmm.
Houston team, as Miz was talking about earlier in the comments, we cannot go in there half stepping. We cannot
No.
go in there sleeping, man. You got to take this team seriously. It doesn't matter that they only have one win on the year. Don't be fooled by the talent on this Houston team, particularly on their defense, and particularly with their superstar stud running back.
Yes.
I mean, the kid is for real, man. I mean, Damian Pierce is absolutely for real, and the New York Giants have indeed been struggling stopping the run And this kid is not going to make it easy on him either, man. So New York Giants, you got to strap it up and go out there and be ready because this Houston Texans team they're hungry for another W. They're going to come out swinging every week, man. They got good pieces all over the field, man. They got some decent talent. Davis Mills, when he's not, I mean, he's very mistake prone. That's been one of their downfalls. Is Davis Mills has been coughing the ball up quite a bit, interceptions, fumbling, and hopefully the New York Giants can keep him on that same track this week because that's kind of what's been costing the Houston Texans this season, man. Because Dameon Pierce is the real deal running that football, man. And their defense is definitely solid. Gave the Eagles absolute fits last week. And nobody saw that game being as close as it was. So this Houston team is going to come in, and they're going to come in determined to try to get the job done against the New York Giants this week. So yeah, Giants can't take the Houston Texans lightly, but I still think Giants gonna find a way to win this football game.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away, Jeff.
Did it not feel right? Did it feel very off last week not seeing our boys out there on the football field? Because it felt really weird. I was not happy not seeing our guys on that football field. I didn't like it. It pissed me off. I want to see our team back on the field. I cannot wait until Sunday. And the same thing that we both said earlier on about the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to say about the New York Giants. Handle your business. This is one of those games right now at home, coming off the bye. We are a lot healthier of a team compared to what we were going into the bye. Handle your business in front of your crowd against the team you should be. You're absolutely right about the fact that this team has a very, very good running back in Dameon Pierce. I don't care what anybody says. Dameon Pierce is right now the best young running back in football. If Brandon Cooks plays, he's a good vertical threat on the outside. I don't know what happened with Nico Collins, the other wide receiver, but if he does play, he's solid. Hey, Jordan Akins, nice to see you actually play again in the Texans. Seems like you were actually showed up over there rather than you did with us in the preseason and during our training camp. We did 0-0. But you go over back there to Houston, all of a sudden you're a good player again. But their defense is very solid overall. But at the same time, we have a stud beast as well in Saquon Barkley, and they struggle stopping the run. They're very poor in terms of stopping the run. So that's going to make Saquon Barkley's chips, he's going to make his lips just like get all happy and get excited because he's going to go out there and he's going to be able to punish right through the hole, pause, and just be able to pick up those big yards on the outside, bounce them to the outside. Andrew Thomas, the best left tackle in football, is going to just keep going out there mauling against that guy, Jerry Hughes. So I can't wait. Just go out there and handle your business. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room, of course, with Mr. 29 and the incident that happened during the bye week, which didn't really put a smile on anybody's face, but we understand a little bit. But at the same time, I want this team to go out there and handle their business, and I want to see Kayvon Thibodeau go out there, and I want to see him destroy this Houston Texans offensive line. How many times is this dude getting held? Every single week he's getting held. Every single week he's getting double and triple team. It's time for Kayvon Thibodeau to pop off in one of these games and just go crazy. And I think the Houston Texans could be that team that Kayvon Thibodeau just goes nuts. Dexter Lawrence now coming back. You got Leonard Williams who's going to be a lot more healthy, and Mac. We're getting healthier. That's the one thing that people forget. We are getting healthier.
We're getting healthier, but we're getting healthier. But you just touched on it, man. The bye week is about getting healthier, getting guys back out on the field, and during the bye week, it can only happen to the New York Giants. It can only happen to us. This seems like these kind of things can only happen to the New York Giants.
Damn right.
We lose a key player during the bye week with a non-football related injury. And it's not, like I said, not just one of, random guy down a depth chart that, good might contribute and be on the. No, we're talking about the captain of the defense. The damn captain of the defense. Number 29, Xavier McKinney, on vacation with his family in Cabo, had an ATV accident and has injured his hand and will be out from now. They're saying could even possibly be out the rest of the season, possibly. So that's not a good look. on the bye week, I have a kind of a strong opinion about this. Some people may not agree. I understand, but my opinion about this is that look, you have a responsibility to this team when you put your name on that contract. And I get you young and you're going on vacation with your family, but there are some just things you just kind of don't do in the season. You know what I mean? During the season, you just don't take certain risks doing certain activities. And it just is what it is. It's kind of, to me, a responsibility thing. I get you want to go out and have a good time with your family and still do things that 20 something year olds do. But you gotta have that responsibility. This is a big business you work for, man. And when you put your name on that contract, you put your name on there because you're saying you're gonna be there. And when you do get injured in a fashion like this, you put yourself at unnecessary risk and you got hurt. And now you can't be there for your team. And now you're not able to do your job. Xavier McKinney is an outstanding young man. I don't have a problem with Xavier McKinney. He just made to me a poor decision and he made a bad choice. And I don't know the details of the accident, obviously, but he's now paying for it. It cost him, and it's possibly going to cost him the rest of this season. Hopefully, not the case, and hopefully he only misses the minimum amount of time, which is still going to be a month. So, but I just feel like these guys got to really think about the big picture, man. And that's the reality. You can't take certain risks in season, man, with certain types of activities. Certain things you got to save them for the off season. It wouldn't have been that great a look in the off season, but I'm not gonna be like tell a guy in the off season like, nah, don't do what you want to do as long as you don't get too reckless, don't get ridiculously reckless. And I'm assuming he wasn't out there doing tricks like he's in X Games or nothing like that, but still.
No, I'm gonna get to one point later because there was a photo that showed up on Instagram that did not make me happy seeing it, and that involved another defensive player on the Giants.
Yeah, so you just gotta try to weather the storm a little bit, and hopefully we can overcome this one too, like we've been overcoming everything else this season because that's a big hit to this defense. Xavier McKinney was playing exceptionally well, and so I just think. I don't know. I just think that I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's just a tough decision, man.
Well, what it does, Mac, is it puts more importance into that other safety that I believe has been outplaying him so far this season, and that's Mr. Julian Love, number 20, who's now going to be taking over the play calling. And I'm sure you probably saw the news that the Giants were actually negotiating a long-term contract with Julian Love. And if he actually goes out there and he plays well, taking over as the leader of that defense, Julian Love could have a new contract even before the season ends. But back to McKinney, this kid is not a bad kid. And I think the media was being a little bit unfair with this kid, pretty much grilling this kid, making him looking like a big-time villain. And that's how you get a kid to not want to be in New York. And that's one of the things I can't stand about the New York media is how they pretty much just destroy these young kids every single time. Obviously, we can go back to the Kadarius Toney situation, how that didn't play all. And obviously going back even further with Odell Beckham Jr. But McKinney, he made a foolish decision. He made a decision. He should have been more careful about it. And unfortunately now, he's going to be out for an extended period of time. And he could be out for the rest of the season. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he won't. But either way, it's going to hurt this defense because you not only lose a captain on this team, you not only lose the signal caller on this team that's been relaying the plays to your team on defense, but you lose one of your best players who's been playing very solid football on that team and was your deep safety. Can Dane Belton take over in that deep safety position? I don't know. Can Jason Pinnock take over? I don't know. Is Landon Collins going to start getting a little bit more playing time? He better not play deep safety. We're screwed.
No,
he better not do that. It's got to be Belton. Belton's got to grow up, and he's got to grow up quickly with McKinney out. But it's not the best of looks, and it does present. You know what it does, Mac? When they decide if they want to try to negotiate a contract extension with McKinney after the season, you know what they can do? They can go to him and say, like, well, you voided your contract by the fact that you got hurt on an off-the-football field activity where it caused you to miss multiple games and some possibility he missed the season, and they can use that against him in negotiating a new contract. And like I said, it's going to make Julian Love that much more important now. How you doing, Philly halftime? That much more important now in terms of his value to this football team. So it's just not a very good look for him. And I saw the picture of Jihad Ward trying to pop wheelies on his ATV, and that did not make me happy because God forbid what happens if he did something and got himself hurt. You got to think that I have no problem if players want to go out and do whatever they want on their bye week. It's their lives. They can do whatever the hell they want, but you also have to think about what you have to be careful on the things that you do, because if something, a circumstance like this happens, it's going to end up affecting your football team on the field. And now when your top prominent players is going to be missing a majority of the second half of the season, possibly the rest of the season. And what happens if this Giants defense in the secondary, Mac, and the chat, if this secondary starts just giving up big plays in the middle, they start faltering towards down the stretch, and God forbid we don't make the playoffs because that's such a big deficiency in the middle of that defense because players are hitting big plays on us now because Xavier McKinney's not there. It's not a good look for him.
I mean, yeah, that's just my point of it. It's like it's activities you can partake in where there's really not much risk of anything, and then but you choose to choose partake in the activity where there's legitimate potential for risk of injury, man. So
absolutely,
that it's just a decision. You just got I don't know. It's like I don't want to be telling grown men what they got to do. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I just think you got to make better decisions, and it's unfortunate for Xavier McKinney because I really like the kid, and I still do. Don't misconstrue my words. I still
me too.
Utmost respect for Xavier McKinney. It's just that I feel like he made a poor choice, and it cost him, and it's going to affect not only himself, it's going to affect the New York Giants. I mean, that's going to be a big loss, and we'll see how it goes. How starting even this Sunday. Like I said, you cannot let Davis Mills get comfortable, man, back there because if he does get comfortable, that kid has potential to do some nice things with the football. But if you can go ahead and get to him and rattle him, get the pressure on him, good things can happen for this New York Giants defense. I still believe we will be able to overcome this at least this week for sure, and then we'll have to see going forward. If we never knew the particulars and was only told he injured himself and is kept private, I doubt the outrage with players wouldn't be to this magnitude. Medical privacy isn't related to athletes. I agree with that. That is true. Absolutely true, Coach.
NYG brings up a good point too about Love and McKinney. Though this is the thing I'll say about that real quick. I don't think Julian Love is going to get a bigger contract than what Xavier McKinney might get. And if you can find a way to get Julian Love a better, newspaper Jeffy. What's going on, Seabrook? How you doing, bro? But I think that for Love, what do you think his market value is right now if you want to pay him a contract extension? Would you say $8-9 million a year? And how many years would you lock him up for Julian Love? And then McKinney, same thing. I'm doing good. Seabrook, how you doing, bro? Yes, that's right. F. David Mills.
I mean, I think Julian Love, he probably will be like around the $8 million range, maybe. I don't know if because he's a good player and everything, but I don't think there's a super high demand for him like that. You know what I mean? Where he can be out there just demanding crazy money. You can't demand all pro money. You know what I mean? So, and as far as McKinney, man, when it gets to his time, man, it's we'll have to see. I'm not really good with these numbers and everything. That's not really my thing, but I just think that
I can't let go of Love. I can't do it.
I think this New York Giants, Joe Shane, this regime, I think they're going to find a way to keep both of these guys in the building. They keep playing at the level that they're playing at. Yeah. You just find a way to keep these guys in the building.
I can't get rid of Julian Love. I can't do it. I think this guy's become such an important player on this defense because of his versatility, and he's really taken over as a strong leader on this defense. Out of everybody that's fit the most in this defense, Mac, in the chat, I'd argue besides Dexter Lawrence, Julian Love has extremely fit well with this Wink Martindale defense. He has fit so well with this defense in that back end. And his play is really playing a major factor. The dude is getting it done every single facet, whether it's sacking the QB, pass defenses. He once made a play a couple of weeks ago where he ranged from one side of the football field and knocked away a pass on the other side of the football field. He's playing so well right now, and he is a glue guy. And he's a captain.
He's got our only interception on the season. So.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't let this kid go. He's becoming a favorite player on a lot of these New York Giants fans. I
don't
can't
think
do
they're
it.
letting him get out the building, but I don't think they're going to throw crazy money at him either. So
no. I think he wants to be a Giant too.
I think that's what the Giants are going to be dealing with this offseason. Is I think people are going to want to be New York Giants again.
Yes.
I think people are going to be proud and happy to play for the New York Football Giants again, and that's what I love. That's getting built around here now,
including Adam's favorite quarterback, Daniel Jones.
Instead of guys wanting to run away from New York, now we're going to have guys wanting to come play in New York again, man, and that's a good feeling to have going into the off season. It'll get. As long as you can get that money figured out, the money right, which I think, like I said, I always put faith in these NFL GMs. They always seem to know ways to move money around and do what they need to do to make things happen. So I'm going to hope.
And Shane's been so good at that too. Shane has done such a great job with what he's done so far. There have been some mishaps. We have to admit that. The Bradbury thing seems to be blowing up in our face right now. But at the same time, Joe Shane has done these players in the middle of the draft that have been contributing, some of these undrafted players like Timon Fox, the job that he's doing on the outside linebacker position when it seems like everybody's been getting banged up consistently in and out. And he's picked up some of these guys that were bit players before that have come in and they contributed, including Jahide Ward, who was pretty much a rotational player in Baltimore. He's come in and he's done an excellent job on the outside. He's turned, and this coaching staff have turned Shane freaking Zimenez into a contributor on the Giants, where I go as far as say I want Zimenez back next year because of the way he's playing, because he's done so well with this team, and we actually missed him. When the hell, Mac, did we actually say we miss O'Shane Zimenez? We did.
O'Shane Zimenez might be getting back into the lineup this week, and I think
he is.
And the second half of the season is going to be important for him personally, his career personally, because I think there could possibly, if he continues on the path that he's been the first half of this season, he's going to be one of those kind of guys that you might have some other team throw a little more money than the Giants would be willing to invest in him going forward, and when he gets to free agency next year. So we'll see how that plays out. But we talk about a couple other guys coming back that could be coming back this week.
Oh, there's one guy we have to talk about
the big
specifically.
One, the big one. Yeah. The big one. Mr. $70 million man in the wide receiver room. Number 19, Kenny Galladay. Yes, saying all the right things in the media, has been, talking about saying everything right. Everything sounds good. He sounds like he wants to really be a part of this. But we got to see it on the field, man. I'm yet to see it on the field. He's been injured most of this season now at this point. And if he gets back in this lineup on Sunday against the Houston Texans, he better show me something. Because right now, it's put up or shut up time. I don't want to hear nothing else. You got to get open. You got to catch the football. You got to make plays. Score some damn touchdowns.
Oh, please, yes. Please,
score
God.
a touchdown or two. Feel free to cross the goal line with the ball in your hand, brother. Please. Just, we need to see it on the field, Kenny Galladay. Right now, you sound, like I said, sounding all good in the media, man. Talking to the media. Show me something on the field, brother. Show me something on the field.
I agree 100%, Mac.
Is desperate for something, a spark. We need more than a spark in that wide receiver room. So the rumors about Odell Beckham and everything, those are rumors. Until he puts pen to paper, they ain't nothing but rumors.
I agree.
At the end of the day, he's coming off a major knee injury, so you can't expect the Odell Beckham that was here from 2014 to 2019. You can't expect that. You can't expect that guy. It's not going to be that version of Odell Beckham that the New York Giants will be getting if they did sign him. Sure, he'll be another explosive receiver. Sure, he'll be a guy defenses have to respect. And sure, he'll probably be able to help, if nothing else, other guys be able to get a little more opened up in this offense. Sure, all that's all well and good. Until he puts pen to paper, man, I'm kind of over the whole Odell Beckham thing. because right now nobody really knows nothing. There's rumors about him coming here, rumors about him going to Dallas. I mean, look, they're rumors, man. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear about rumors. Let's talk about facts when the things actually happen, man. Right now, Kenny Galladay is here, and
Yes.
he is apparently getting healthy, and most likely will be on the field on Sunday. And we need to see him do something because he's done absolutely nothing since he's been
No.
here, but get paid. That's all he's done is get paid.
This is his perfect opportunity right now. Everybody's been talking about Kenny Galladay in that contract. Everybody's been getting on this guy for the fact that he's Mr. $72 million invisible man. 2 catches for 22 yards in the first game of the season. Didn't even have a catch for about 2 or 3 weeks in a row, including having one of the biggest drops against the Dallas Cowboys when it bounced in and out of his hands, getting booed off the football field. And then he ends up getting hurt trying to make a block on the outside, I believe against the Chicago Bears. Right now, Kenny Galladay, he knows the wide receiver core on the Giants is weak. We've been trotting out guys like Richie James, and no disrespect to Richie James. He did an admirable job, but you're not part of the solution. David Sills, get this guy the hell out of the wide receiver core. And I say ditto for Marcus Johnson. Right now, we got Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson that are locked in to 2 of those wide receiver spots. Kenny Galladay has got the opportunity right now to not only write his Giants career on a good path, he's got an opportunity to potentially write his NFL career on the right path. He's 29 years old, banged up consistently, and everybody's saying he's done. You could say all the right things you want in the media, but talk is cheap. You got to go out there on the football field and let your football play do the talking. And right now, this Sunday against the Houston Texans, who are not a very good team. Yes, they have a solid defense, but this Giants offense can move on them. You know what you should do? Get Kenny Galladay involved early and often. You don't have to consistently target him on every single play, but get this guy involved in the offense. Get him some confidence. Because what's the biggest thing with football players? Get them confidence. If their confidence starts getting stronger and stronger during games consistently, that's what is going to get Kenny Galladay. Richie James will sign it. Coach, stop it. Yeah, stop it, Coach. Stop it, Coach, okay? Damn it. You just got me off my tangent now. I was going fire right now. You had to pull up that thing with Richie James. 10 years, $100 million. Man, he shouldn't even get 1 year, $10 right now. But
oh, my God.
Kenny Galladay right now, he's got every reason. He's got everything lined up in front of him to be. He's got every chance right now, Mac, to go out there and right a wrong after what he's done for the past couple of first year and a half. Everything's laid out for him. That over the wide receiver spot is wide open for Kenny Galladay. He is the guy that can come in right now and he can make an impact. He's just got to get motivated fully. I dogged this guy for getting on him for years. And Kenny Galladay, I'm trying so hard not to laugh. Kenny Galladay is pretty much everybody thinks he's washed. I want to see Kenny Galladay out there and continue to go out and give effort because that's exactly what he was doing. He was blocking. He was doing a good job blocking on the outside. I want to see Kenny Galladay be able to get in this passing game. Two catches, 22 yards for a $72 million wide receiver. I don't want to keep making it about the contract. It's not about the contract. I want to see this guy produce. I'm rooting behind Kenny Galladay, and I've been one of the biggest detractors of Kenny Galladay since the end of last year. I've been against this guy, saying he's washed, he's done, he can't do it anymore. Number 19, going all day, can't get right, whatever you want to call this dude. All the nicknames in the world. He has the opportunity. Yeah, unpopular opinion.
He brought up a great point.
Galladay has kind of been a forgotten man. Maybe him being hurt was the best thing for him. Maybe he's focused now. I hope so.
I just touch on that because I agree with that point. Definitely agree with that point. Unpopular opinion, man. Like this situation, I think he got to sit back. He got to watch these other guys. They're not exactly obviously blowing it away. You know what I mean? Not out there putting out spectacular receiving performances, but he's seeing this team be successful with these guys that aren't better than him.
No.
and And I think it can sometimes have a way of making a guy realize, oh, I guess I'm not too big for this. I guess I'm not, this team, even if I'm not here, is finding a way to get it done without me. I want to be a part of this. This like 6-2 going into the bye week. Maybe he is excited to come out there and be part of something, a winning situation. That's something he hasn't really done in career with the Lions or with us. His first year here with us. So maybe he's starting to realize what it's like to be a winner and feel like I definitely want to be a part. Maybe he is all in, and maybe we are going to get a new Kenny Galladay, a focused one, a regenerated one, a rejuvenated one. I meant to say, and maybe he'll surprise us all. And I hope he does. Hope you're absolutely right, Miz. Hope he
get
does
a freaking touchdown, bro.
Score his
Please,
first
God, get a
touchdown
touchdown
on Sunday.
Get a
Hope he is
freaking
big
touchdown.
for us the second half of this season because we're going to need somebody to step up. We're going to need guys to step up. This is where it's getting ready to get critical. We're getting ready to get on the stretch soon with 4 straight division games after these next 2. After these next 2 games, we're going to have 4 consecutive division games, and they are going to make or break our season, and that's a guarantee.
Yes.
We got to be geared up and ready for that because it's an important stretch of the season for the New York Football Giants, and I believe in this team because they've made me buy all the way in and believe in everything they can do. And they got the heart to go out there and mix it up with anybody, no matter who the hell's on the other side of that field. I don't care if it's the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. It doesn't matter. This New York Giant team has shown the heart to go out there and get it done against every and anybody. And anybody that plays us is going to get the best New York Giants team they could possibly get. And Kenny Galladay, if you want to be down with that, I'm all good, brother. But you got to show me. I can't take it at the words you saying out your mouth on interviews with the media. I got to see it on the field. That's it. I just need to see it, and it's time for you to step up and play up to what we expected we got when we signed you a year ago.
I agree. It's time for Kenny Galladay to go out there and show up. Everything's lined up for him perfectly. Team is weak at wide receiver. He's a guy we signed. He's the missing link to that wide receiver core. This is his chance right now to go out there and get redemption. Go out there, play well, and get it done. Yeah, I thought about we talked about this too last night about Kenny Galladay maybe having his contract restructured if they want to bring in a guy like OBJ or if they want to give a guy like Love an extension. I don't love it.
If that's a situation, though, that does show me that Kenny Galladay may have a new attitude. You know what I mean? He's not making it just about him. That would show he's a team guy. He wants to do things to help make this team better because that would be pretty fun. We get Kenny Galladay, Odell Beckham out there. I mean, Slayton is what Slayton is, but he looks good when he's surrounded by receivers. He looks pretty damn good surrounded by receivers like that. You know what I mean? Wan'Dale Robinson. So then you can start putting a little more respect in that receiver room. So, I mean, I'm cool with. I'd be really ecstatic if he actually was willing to do that. You know what I mean? Because it would show that he wants to be a part of what's going on here, and he wants this team to succeed and help give his team the best opportunity to succeed. So that would be a great team move if he was able to restructure his contract to help get a guy like Odell Beckham here.
It's like a correlation too because it seems like his attitude has really changed a whole lot since Kadarius Toney was traded away. I don't know if there's like some type of friction between those two. I mean, there was a comment I believe that came out earlier in the season about like Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney. I forget what the quote was. But you wonder if there's some type of friction between the two of them. And then once Toney was traded out of the New York Giants, it seems like Kenny Galladay's attitude just snapped completely. And he seems to be like completely on board. He wants to try to go out there and help this team win. He's the veteran of this wide receiver core, the veteran. I know you could say Slayton too. There are some other guys. But with Sterling Shepard no longer on the field for us, Kenny Galladay is the veteran in this wide receiver core. And like we said, this is his opportunity right now to not only save his Giants career, but his NFL career. He needs to go out there and really show that he could still be a productive wide receiver in the NFL. Because if he goes out there and just, what's the bet again, doesn't play well, stinks it up, or gets hurt again, you know what? Are any teams really going to touch him if the Giants cut him in the offseason, which most likely they probably will? Are any teams going to want to do anything with this guy? Because they're going to look at him and be like, you know what? He's washed. He can't get it done. He's almost on the other side of 30. He's not a productive player anymore. Why are we even bother to take a chance on this guy? So he's really got a lot riding for him. He's got his Giants career, if he wants to stay a Giant after the season, to look forward to and try to, show that the front office, the organization, and the coaching staff that he could still be a key contributor for this team going forward. And at the same time, his NFL career after the season. So you got to think about that too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm about to send Miz the link, put the link in the chat for Miz. He want to come on and talk about the New York Giants for a quick minute. So I'll let him do that because he wanted to come on last week, wasn't able to get him on.
All right, I'm always cool to have the Miz on. Miz, coach, anybody. Talk a little bit of Giants football.
Let me send the link out to him real quick. I'm gonna just put it up in the chat for him.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I want to see Golladay do well. I do. I really do, because I think this guy can really help out this football team. He really can. And it's right there for Kenny Golladay. It really is. You mean it's like the stars are aligning for Kenny Golladay to go out there and really show that he can be the guy. He could still potentially be one of the guys, or he can be the guy. Because I like Slayton. He's been doing a solid job, but Slayton is not number one. Robinson's still in his rookie year. This is redemption now for Kenny Golladay. And it's time for him to actually go out there, and he doesn't have to play like a true number one star, but go out there and step your game up. So I hope he can do that. And it's time for him to
What's going on, Miz? How you doing today, bro?
You're not playing in the rain anymore like you were earlier?
I was. What? And it was time for us to leave the area, they said. So, yeah, the storm is getting a little stronger now tonight. But, no, so come on and talk about the Giants. It's been a long time since I spoke. And I feel like maybe I'm trying to be positive, but I think Kenny Golladay could bring something. I mean, we really don't have much to lose, right? So I think he could add something. I think I don't know what happened to him. I don't believe people just forget how to play. I don't know if something happened or if he suffered some type of injury, but let's see Sunday, man. But in order for him to work, you also got to throw him the ball. I mean, we've gone over this before, you know? You can't just have him run up and down the field and not even look in his direction, because halfway through the game, of course, as a guy who used to be somebody big in the league, you're going to be like, screw this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I don't give up on him is because earlier in the season he wasn't getting balls, but he was blocking hard in the run game. So it's not like he dogged it, you know? Some people believe he dogged it, but if you watch how he blocked in the run game, I don't know what to make. I don't know what happened to this guy. I really don't. But I'm hoping we get to see. Listen, I'm not unrealistic. He's not going to pop up 100 yards and 3 touchdowns Sunday, but I'd like to see him get 50, couple maybe third down conversions. You know, maybe a touchdown in the red zone if they go to him. I would take a shot deep to him early in the game just to let him know, yo, we're going to go to you today.
Mm-hmm.
That could be what it is too. I mean, sometimes when you're part of a constant losing, it just grows on you. And sometimes it does have a way of affecting. So I'm hoping now that he's seeing the winning that's been going on around here this season, just a whole new change, new aura, that maybe that's going to rub off on him in a positive way with all this time he's been off trying to get healthy. We'll see. Like I said, at this point, though, I mean, I just got to see it get done on the field. And you're right. They got to throw the ball to him. But you got to get open, and you got to give him a reason to throw the ball to you as well. So he's got to do his job on his end as well.
Scheme him open. Do some type of plays to get Kenny Golladay open. He was actually very good in some of those slant passes over the middle where he can get in front of the cornerbacks in the slot and, take advantage of that. So, Coach, maybe you're right. Maybe his skills have eroded. But we've talked about this before. You scheme a way to get Kenny Golladay the ball open in the middle of the field, and then you can at least give him some confidence that you're like, you know what? I'm still part of this offense. I can get the job done. That's how you get a player's confidence up. Get him the ball, scheme ways to get him open so you can get him the ball. And that's really maybe what Kenny Golladay needs the most, is confidence.
I mean, we all know that he's not a guy that's going to get wide open. I mean, maybe once in the blue he might make a move where he ends up wide open down the field. But for the most part, the guy is going to be in his area pretty close to him. And if you're not a guy who trusts throwing the ball to him, that he's going to pull that ball out of the forehands, then I guess he's not going to get many balls. And we know Daniel Jones maybe is not at that level yet, or hasn't been in the past, or maybe it just don't work between them. I don't know, but at this point we need him. And this Sunday is an important game. I mean, look at it like the Texans. They're not good. You can't emotionally get up. You better get emotionally up, because if you slip here, you could be in trouble this year. It could slip away, because McKinney's leaving us with a hole here right now, and that's what worries me. Because I think the Lions game just got tougher.
How do you feel about McKinney? About the McKinney situation?
What's your opinion on the whole McKinney situation?
I told people on Twitter, like a few people, I spoke to Authentic. I said, look, usually I'm the guy who gets on people, but I'm not going to get on McKinney, because, number one, he's been a really good citizen. He's a good kid. He hasn't never done anything wrong. He's a captain, and he's extremely important. So whatever, an accident happened. And these guys, I know some people are going to say, oh, no. You don't really get to live your life, because now you're getting paid a lot of money and you got to follow the rules. But you know what? When these guys go on vacation, they're allowed to have their own life. You go on a trip, you want to go jet skiing, or you want to do some things that all the regular people get to do. I can't get mad at him if he had some type of an accident, broke his hand. I'm not going to get angry. It's disappointing, definitely, but I'm not going to be mad at him. I'm hoping that he will get back for, let's say, mid-December. I think he will be back, because I noticed that this coaching staff doesn't like to give information, and they told their players not to give information. So a lot of times I've been realizing now that they'll tell you things that are not totally the truth. They're not really lying to you, but they don't want to let the league know. So they may make you think McKinney's done for the year, but I don't think he is at all. Just the same way they let everybody to believe that eventually Tony would get on the field, but the entire year we all know, looking back, that they had him set up for a trade. You see what I'm trying to say?
It's possible. I hope he does come back, but I mean, it's also you have to figure out how effective is he going to be coming back from that hand injury, because it seems like it was a pretty serious hand injury where he had to get surgery on it, and I believe it'd be like a 4 to 6 week injury if it's the long end of anything. So that would put him back around, I think the Washington game, around that time, the second Washington game that he might be returning. So
hopefully we get him back for the Colts and Eagles, the last 2 games. Jeff.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
For the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And you got to hope that Belton can get the job done in the meantime, because Belton is going to have to be that deep safety now. That's going to have to take over for McKinney, and he's going to have to grow up fast. Dane Belton is going to have to grow up fast instead of being a rookie that's still learning in the game. He's going to have to be now one of those key safeties playing that back end, because who else can do it? It's not Love. Love is he's better when he plays in the box at times, and he's more versatile, but he's better in the box. I mean, you're not going to put Pinnock back there. He's just pretty much a special teamer. And God knows we are hell not putting Landon Collins back there. So it's going to have to be Dane Belton. He's going to have to grow up, and he's going to have to do a better job playing that back end, taking over for McKinney in the meantime. But that teams are now looking at that and be like, you know what? McKinney's not out there. We're going to try to test out this rookie in the middle of the field and see if he can be able to, do what McKinney was able to do, and that's play good coverage in the middle. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say you might see them mixing Collins a little more. You might see it because he's not as fast as he used to be, but he played the position his whole career, so he has an understanding.
Yeah,
and we're getting back a few of these corners like Rodarius, right? And
I think Flott's going to be back at least. We'll get Flott back. I don't know about Williams. He hasn't been activated yet, but he could be in the next couple of days.
So
how do you feel about Shane Lemieux being activated?
Offensive line depth. That's what it is to me. Offensive line depth. I love it. And I still want to see what Azudu has to do. I want to see what Azudu can do at that left guard spot, because he is a rookie. He does have some upside. He has gotten beat sometimes in terms of his pass blocking and run blocking, but I'll give the kid his chance. What Shane Lemieux does, what Nick Gates does, and when Bredesen comes back, it adds more depth to that offensive line. And even Matt Parrott. I can't even say that Matt Parrott wouldn't be a help and the outside, like an offensive tackle, because if this Tyree Phillips kid struggles a little bit, Maybe you activate Parrott within the next week or two, throw him in there until Neal is ready to go. And Parrott, maybe you could make Parrott into a guard. I don't know if Parrott could be able to play guard. I think he's more of a tackle because of his size, but you never know. So, I mean, the more offensive line depth you can get is the better off for this team. So, absolutely, I love to get Lemieux back in here because it's going to help out this offensive line and the depth overall. And Feliciano, I don't know how you guys feel, and in the chat, I'm getting tired of seeing Feliciano at center, and I would even get Gates ramped up to potentially if he can play center, or maybe even try Lemieux possibly at center because he has had some reps playing at center before. So, at that point, I would not mind seeing Nick Gates or Lemieux get some type of shot at that center position because Feliciano, I don't give a crap what he's been doing with PFF. They graded that guy high somehow. He's a weak link on that offensive line. Please. Yeah, Matt Parrott's still on the roster, NYG. He's still there. He's on the 21-day clock right now to come back, and I think he's going to get activated soon. If Tyree Phillips struggles big time at that right tackle position again Sunday, do not be shocked if Matt Parrott is activated and he might be taking over at right tackle for the New York Giants until Evan Neal gets back. Do not be shocked. Don't be shocked. I'm just telling you.
I'm not sure how I feel about Matt Pert, man. I just think I've seen all I need to see that guy. I don't want him necessarily starting on his O-line, man.
Do you want Tyree Phillips, though, in the meantime? Because I don't trust that guy either.
I just don't think it's going to be much of an upgrade putting Matt Pert out there. That's all. I'm not saying Tyree Phillips is the answer either, but I don't see Matt Pert really being much of an upgrade.
No, but he'd just be a hold the fort type dude until Neal gets back. I think Neal, I believe, was running a little bit, so he might not be that far away. He could be just a couple of weeks, and he might be back for that Dallas game. So hold the fort with Phillips or whoever it is at right tackle. Then you get Neal back, and maybe even Bredesen possibly back for that game against Dallas. And then you could just go back with your starting offensive line that you had before. Because I believe, unless Azudu takes off at left guard, I'm putting Bredesen back at left guard because he was really starting to step up and play great football before he got hurt. So Azudu, I want to see what the kid can do. But if he doesn't, really take off, I want Bredesen back at left guard because him and Thomas were really starting to develop a strong chemistry on that left side of the offensive line. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I
also believe you'll get I also believe we'll have Bellinger back for the Dallas game. I really feel he's going to be ready to go for the Dallas game.
I think so too.
He's looking good and he's running on the sideline. They say he's jogging, so I think he's got nothing wrong with his body. It was an eye thing, so
better have a visor on.
Yeah, he better have a visor.
Better be wearing.
Maybe he will. Maybe he will, but we need him because he was a weapon.
Yeah,
he was really, he was starting to turn into a really big piece on this offense, man. He was starting to make big plays every week.
Yeah.
So it was
He's becoming Daniel Jones' favorite target. He was becoming Daniel Jones' favorite target until he got hurt.
One of those freak accidents, one of those weird things, man. Weird injury. Not something you're going to see too much in football, but it happens.
Only to the Giants. Only happens to the Giants, it seems. These freak things happen.
Maybe. It might be an accident, but that Jaguars team was playing a little dirty that day. So, I noticed a few things they did that game. Mm-hmm. And that might have been not so accidental. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You might be right on that one.
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I think he's going to be back soon, which is good I believe we'll get McKinney back along this season also. I don't think he's done for the year. But I think they like to throw that out there to make teams think that. There's a lot of these hidden things that are going on, Yeah. I noticed. And this coaching staff, he's a lot like Belichick. He doesn't give the media anything. If when he spoke about McKinney, he didn't give anything. He doesn't give you information, which is smart. You don't need to give anybody any information. There's a way of beating around the bush without giving an answer, and you don't have to be mean about it either. And he's good at that. Coach Darboe is good at that.
And getting back to what Seabrook said, I think that the one thing that Matt Parrott has struggled with, that dude needs to get himself an attitude. He plays too passive, and that's one of the reasons why he wasn't playing as well, because he's too damn passive on the football field. He doesn't have that Nick Gates, that Andrew Thomas, that Shane Lemieux, Ben Bredesen type nastiness that you need with an offensive lineman. Maybe if you get Bobby Johnson a chance to coach this kid up more when he actually gets back on the football field, maybe he can get a nastiness out of Parrott, because I think the kid still has talent, but I just don't know if he has that nastiness, that aggressive, mean streak that you need in an offensive lineman. That's the reason why Parrott struggled, because he was too damn passive on the football field. He needs to become a guy that's going to go out there and play mean. That's how you become a good offensive lineman. He needs a Nick Gates and a Shane Lemieux type attitude, where he's just like the F the world type thing. I'm going to go out there. I don't care who you are. He needs to be a dog. Exactly. He has no dog in him. He needs that dog. How about you go look at your partners over there in that draft that you were in with Shane Lemieux, as well as Andrew Thomas. They got dogs in there. That's what Parrott needs. He needs a dog inside of him. That's what he's lacking, and that's why he struggled. I think it's because he doesn't have a dog in him.
Right.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Matt Pearce, another guy. I got to see it on the field to believe it. I have any real belief in him, man.
Mac said he'd rather not have him on the field. How about that?
Yeah,
Mac
I
likes
don't know
to
if
see
it's
him on
Mac,
the edge of the bench eating a hot dog and drinking a Gatorade.
and hot pretzel too.
yeah.
Right.
I see it being a struggle, man.
Yeah. And he's going to play. He's going to be just he might be a swing tackle. That's it. He could be a
I
swing
was
tackle.
never
That's
high
gonna
on
be his
him when they
career.
drafted him in the 3rd round, and I was never high on where he came from. It wasn't a
He went
big
to
time
like
football school to me.
UConn.
UConn.
It's a,
Yeah,
it's a
UConn's on the
basketball
offensive
school.
line. Mhm.
You know, they just took what there was because all Gettleman heard about obviously was the O-line, the O-line, the O-line. So let me grab this kid right here.
Yeah, 'cause
And
he's
then I
got
think
good
they
size.
kind of overhyped them themselves. They tried to sell it to everybody,
Pert needs a shorty to make him a man. Put that hair in his chest. That's right, Coach. That's right, Coach. You tell him.
Oh man.
Are you worried about this game at all? Or the Lions game? I'll be honest with you, I am worried about the Lions game. But we'll take this game first, obviously.
Handle your
Well, I
business,
mean, you
miss.
got to worry. I mean, we got to worry about all these games, man, because we're at the end of the day we're 6-2, but let's face it, we're still not a normal conventional 6-2 team.
Right.
We can't look past anybody at all. We still can't even Houston, even a 1-win Houston team, even a 2-win Lion team. You can't look these guys. The Lions can score points,
Yeah,
especially the Lions in particular. They can score points. Houston can run the football. These are things that could be problems for the New York for the Giants. So we got to go out there with a good, solid game plan and be ready to get the job done. I don't think either one of these two teams should beat us, but
Mm-hmm.
right.
like you
We'll have to
said,
wait
that's
and
why they
see.
play the game. That's why they play the game.
But
And
it's like the Giants haven't slipped up this year yet against the game that we go into thinking that we should win this game, and then we have a clunker like we always have in our history. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like making me think like we're due for one of these losses that we don't expect to lose. Now that we're 6-2, and we might be thinking that we are really better than we really are. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
Like a lot of the fans and us were 6-2. The Giants are doing great. We know. All right, some of us understand that the Giants are not truly in a top of the league 6-2 team, right? We know
No,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Some of us don't want to admit that. They want to think that we're making a run in the Super Bowl. Okay, whatever. But so I'm saying we have 2 games coming up that we need to win
Mm-hmm.
because then the schedule gets really tough after that. But I'm worried that one of these games is going to be where the Giants fell asleep and had a bad game, a 3-turnover game. You know what I mean?
From your
well
lips to
that's the
God's
thing.
ears, NYG. From your lips to God's ears. I hope he does.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree. I think I have a feeling, I don't know about the rest of the year, but I have a feeling Galladay steps his game up this week
Mm-hmm.
and shows who he really was once. Like I think he has this chip on his shoulder right now. It looks like this week. He's been talking a good game.
yeah, he has been. I
And
will give him that. He definitely has been, but just got to, like I said, at this point, talk is cheap, man. You
That
got to
kid's not even
see
on our team anymore,
the
Seabrook.
production on the field.
Roy Mbatika, I think they released him off the practice squad, so I don't even think he's part of the Giants organization anymore.
I mean, kids like that, guy like that is raw. You know what I mean? He's not ready for that. As good as he might look, overwhelming, his power, strong, big, strong guy. guy like that's not ready for the NFL. Yeah, he still needs a lot more experience under his belt. Get thrown out there in real NFL with live rounds. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if that guy's ever going to be really fit for the NFL.
No, I don't think so. He's going to need a lot of development before he. We'll have to
Like,
wait and see what's going to
he
happen.
didn't really grow up in this country, right?
No,
I
If
don't
you
think so.
didn't grow
No.
up, if you didn't grow up in the country watching this game religiously, playing it as a kid, each year you're getting older, and you keep playing it as you get older. Then if you grow up in a country that doesn't have that competition, how are you supposed to be ready for the NFL?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, he's got it. He needs a lot more seasoning. He needs to get used to the NFL game compared to what he was doing over in Nigeria. It's a whole different monster over here compared to over there. So he might have the measurables.
Well,
He might have the size, pause, and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to take a while for him to develop, the type of skills you're looking for an offensive lineman. Everybody's not going to be like a Jordan Mailata who's going to come out of nowhere and just all of a sudden develop into a very good offensive tackle when he never really played in the NFL before. So, I mean, I hope the kid can be able to do that. O.C. Umenyiora specifically picked this kid in the bunch of batches that he had for the international players coming out of Nigeria. So I really hope he can do that. But the kid's got to need a little bit of development before we actually really put our eggs in the basket for him as a player going forward. But we'll see.
Absolutely, Jeff. I know you got to get ready to get going. I know.
Yeah, I got to call the Knicks and the Nets game. I can't wait. It's going to be very unpretty. It's going to be unpretty if the Nets lose tonight. I'm not going to be a very happy camper. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
NYG, you know what's up too.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that game.
Yeah, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. You got any final thoughts, Miz? You came on. You wanted to give some
No,
thoughts
I don't
about.
have final thoughts. I'd like to see the Giants win this game, going away one game this year. Give me a 10+ point spread win, but maybe drop 27 to 30 points. That would be amazing. But then I realized that we're missing Evan Neal, so there's some issues. So, but you know what? The Giants should win this game. I feel we're going to win the game, and we're having a good season. And because Adam's not on today, I'm not going to get on the Jones because that's where I was going to come at him at, and we were going to go to war. But I'll just keep my mouth shut. And
Maybe he's
that's
in the
it.
chat right now, so you can say it.
Oh, he's in there?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not commenting. Maybe he's sneaking
Nobody
in the
heard
chat.
him.
Right now.
He usually
He's pretty
texts.
busy. I don't think he's in the chat.
Yeah,
He
no,
usually
I'm
texts
just kidding. I'm messing.
in the group chat with me and Buko all day, and I haven't heard a word from him all day long. So.
Oh, Buko's got to be riding high right now. Buko's got to be all the way up in the clouds with how his team is playing right now. I feel
he's
good
not.
for Buko.
He's happy with them, but he's pessimistic, which is so normal for a Jet fan.
That's true.
He's worried about this and that. I'm like, yo, you're having a good season. You're probably making up. Just relax, enjoy it.
Exactly. But
Yeah, you got any final thoughts,
I'll
Jeff?
give out my weekly picks since I'm on here. If I have any electricity, I'll probably do it tomorrow because
don't pick the Packers again, Miz. Don't do it.
No,
No
I'm
more
not gonna
Packers
do it no
picks.
more.
Don't do it
I've been
anymore.
riding the Packers every week, and the Packers cost me big time last week. But you know what? I'll do my picks tomorrow if we have electricity. We'll see what happens
Stay safe,
tonight.
bro.
The storm's coming in now, and at midnight the eye is supposed to pass over us. We'll see what happens.
Stay safe over there, bro.
I don't
Sincerely.
give a shit,
Yeah,
Jeff.
it's
You know
supposed
me.
to-
I go out in the ocean.
I know.
right now.
You were just doing it before earlier. You were sitting out there in the middle of. He's just sitting out there in the middle of a hurricane, dancing around in the rain and the wind.
He's supposed to
Crazy.
work his way up the coast. All that rain was work his way up the coast and be here over the weekend, Friday
On
and
the weekend,
Saturday.
right?
So,
In the Northeast. Yeah.
yeah.
What's up, Frank?
Any final thoughts for you, Jeff, before you gotta get out of here?
Just want to see the New York Giants handle their business over there on Sunday. Just go out there. Don't play down to the competition of your opposing team. These are a couple of games the Giants should go out there and win against this Sunday against the Texans and against the Lions before we really get into the meat and potatoes of our schedule against the NFC East opponents. So I hope that the Giants could just go out Sunday in front of the home crowd, handle their business, get a victory. I don't care if it's ugly or a blowout. Just get the job done, and that's all I care about. That's it.
Yeah, as for me, man, I just want to say, go out there on Sunday. Don't get cute. Turn around. Put that ball in number 26's belly and let him let the magic happen, man. You know what I mean? Don't get cute. Don't overthink
right.
it. Put the ball in your best player's hands.
Damn right, bro.
And let it go, man. And if number 19 wants to show up to the party, you are welcome, my brother, as long as you come in the party with the New York Giants and help us win football games. So let's get it done, man. Let's go out there, get it done. And like I said, these are the games, like you said, Miz. These next couple are critical because these are the ones you got to definitely win because you're getting ready to get to a pretty nasty stretch of the season. So after these next 2 games, so you got to get these 2 in the bank. You get up to 8-2, going to Dallas on Thanksgiving, man, and then things can things are gonna get interesting. So
Things are gonna get icy. So take care of the business now, then you could afford a loss later, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it won't be a good look to go and lose against Dallas on Thanksgiving, but it'll be an easier loss to accept if we can take care of these next 2. So definitely got to put these 2 in the bank, man. Get to 8-2.
Yeah, sub up to these guys right here, Jeff and Mac and Adam, to hurry up. Adam knows I get Adam for fun, but me and Adam are close like brothers. He knows I love him, so if he's out there, I hope he's all right because we haven't heard from him in about a day or 2. And thanks for letting me join today. And I hope I wake up tomorrow with a roof. That's all.
I hope you do too, brother. But I want to thank you guys, man, coming on. Thanks, Jeff, definitely for stepping in for Adam. Appreciate
Anytime,
it, man.
bro.
Did a great job. Make sure you guys
Lieutenant
sub up
Dan.
to NYG Jeffy T85. Sub up
I
to
love
my
what Seabrook says that. I love what Seabrook says. Lieutenant Dan.
Sub up to my guy, The Miz. Sub up to me. Sub up to the Hardcore Sports Network. Sub up to my guy, Adam Costas. Even though he's not here today, he is still very much a part of this as well. So sub up to everybody, man. And thank you guys for tuning in, man. Really appreciate it. This has been another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Round-Up. Pay. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, MacDaGiantsFan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at MacDaGiantsFan. That's MacDa Giants Fan.